because sometimes the preseason means nothing, but sometimes there is stuff to take from it, and that's what we're doing now. It's called Overreaction, Underreaction, this from preseason week 2. So we're going to talk about things that maybe you guys are worried about or excited about, and then whether or not that's fair. And then there's going to be stuff that not enough people are talking about that we have to tell you. Like, hey, this is an underreaction. Not enough people are talking about how X player could be a real threat to make the roster and take a veteran's job. So that's kind of where this conversation is going. Let's start with an overreaction. And Bump, I'll tell you mine, and you can tell me how you feel about it, because I know it's an overreaction, and yet here I have it. So first, Seahawks preseason overreaction. I am a little nervous about what I thought would be one of the best secondaries in football. I recognize no starters are out there, but they did not look super sharp against the Dallas Cowboys backups. And I think what really stresses me or makes me nervous or makes me overreact is that Mike Jackson has not translated a phenomenal offseason to the preseason.
Yeah, and I can understand that, because you say no starters are out there, but we thought Mike Jackson would be fighting for a starting position.
He'd be a starter.
And when you see him give up some big throws early, and then you have the penalty, you start to question that a little bit. And then you go to Trey Brown. You saw him make a play as well, but he's been in the mix as well. I think that I don't think it qualifies for an overreaction. I think that you're right, honestly, because these are names that are fighting for spots. We haven't seen Tariq Woolen out there. We haven't seen Devin Witherspoon out there. If the season were to start today, I believe Tariq will be out there, but that other side is still up for grabs. So when you see, Mike Jackson not have the best preseason game that he could have, there's room for concern. But then also lean on just what he did last year and what he means to this team. Everyone has their days. I don't care who you're going up against. You get beat sometimes. But no, I think there should be some concern just a little bit over there, just a little bit.
866-979-3776. That's the Mac and Jack's text line. Text us. What do you think you might be overreacting to right now? Bump, what's something you think that you, or rather that people, might be overreacting to?
I'm not sure if you're going to talk about this, but I'm going to throw it out there. Ken Walker not getting reps in the preseason.
I wasn't going to mention it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's hear it.
There are some people who are like, he needs to touch the football. What is he doing? Yada, yada. And I get it. I understand it. But what happens when Ken Walker isn't out there? You get to see more Zach Charbonnet. You get to see Roderick Thompson, who's probably not going to make the team, but it allows him to get some tape out there, to get some film. And when it comes to running the football, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Running back and edge rushes are two of the most natural athletic positions in all of sports. Mm-hmm. You get the ball and you run. We used to play a game called Kill the Carrier back in the day in middle school before they banned it, because this big old Samoan dude, Society, used to run us over and send dudes to the nurse's office, right? You throw the ball up, whoever has the ball.
He ruined the game for everyone.
Right, it was too big.
Aww.
Society, too big. So you catch the ball and everyone's just trying to get you until you score a touchdown. And I feel like that's human nature. For however long we've been on this planet, we've been running, jumping, and trying to hunt and flee and all that stuff. And I look at the running back and I go, that's exactly that. Ancestors been doing that for hundreds of thousands of years. You look at getting after the quarterback, right? Athletic movement. So I don't put too much into it, because I think that as long as he's healthy, he's been playing this game for so long, that he's going to be okay. So I hear some people talking about Ken Walker, how he needs to be out there. Would love to see him out there. Don't get it twisted. But I also think that it allows Charbonnet to get some reps, and he's going to be fine.
That's part of overreaction, underreaction. On the other side of overreaction, underreaction, are things that should be taken more seriously. And look, you guys aren't going to like me saying this one, and I don't mean take it seriously as in panic. But one thing I think we're not talking about enough is like some real concern about week 1 readiness for Devin Witherspoon, who is not out there playing. This is the reason that I say it. Witherspoon was competing both at outside and in the nickel spot. Credit to Brady Henderson for pointing this out earlier in his interview with us. You know who you're playing week 1? Who's going to be in the slot against Devin Witherspoon if he's at nickel?
The best slot in all the land.
Exactly. One Cooper Kupp for the Rams. Am I going to feel absolutely great about Devin Witherspoon without any NFL playing time taking on Cooper Kupp if Devin is your nickel starter? No, I'm not going to feel great about that. And outside of that, I mean, we just heard Brady say that the team is hoping that he can take part in like walkthroughs and like basic team drills and stuff like that. That doesn't sound like returning to practice at 100%. I am getting a little nervous. I do think people are like underreacting to this. This isn't me saying he's a bust. That's ridiculous. This isn't me saying he's not going to play. This is me saying, hey, last time I checked, we're less than a month away from the start of the season, and your number 5 pick is not practicing.
Last time that I checked, big up Nipsey Hussle.
Exactly.
I'm with you there, and I think that the reason why it's not getting the reaction that we feel is warranted is because he's the number 5 pick, and people just expect high draft picks to come out and be ready to go. Sometimes it works out that way. Sometimes these guys hit the ground running, boom, they're good to go, especially on the defensive side of the ball. If there's a side where you probably have the most success at rookies doing their thing, it's on defense because it's a reaction type of situation over there. But you got to see, or you want to see Devin Witherspoon out there. Where are you going to put him? You're going to put him in the slot? You're going to put him outside? We spoke to Brady Henderson. He goes, look, at first I'm thinking, okay, he can go inside or he can go outside. But with the lack of reps, you're like, nah, focus on one position. Just get one position down and you'll be good to go. I think we should be talking about this more, but I think the reason we're not talking about it more is because of the depth that they have over there and because he's the number 5 spot and people are just thinking that he's signed, sealed, delivered, ready to go.
I know that you have another one. Do you want me to read you one from a listener? You can tell him if he's overreacting. Okay, yep. From Christian in the 206. Seahawks got the best wide receiver core in the league. I think JSN takes us over the top. Might be overreacting, but hey.
I still look at Cincinnati, and I like what's going on over there.
Yeah.
I'll throw Miami in the mix as well, but I would say they are one of the best. There's not too many receiving cores better on paper than these guys are right now.
I think that just in general, it is not an overreaction to be excited about what JSN is doing. Like it's not something where I'd say it's an underreaction. Everyone's talking about him. But I think that it is you're right, it's a very real kind of level of impressing that he's made on people, including people who know way more about football than I do.
It's the way. There's 2 catches that stood out to me. Obviously, the one over the shoulder that Drew Lock dropped a dime on him was scored. I was talking to Brian Walters. He's on the pregame show with us. That is the toughest catch in football. Over the shoulder, because you lose it for a second. You kind of got to track it and then anticipate where it's going to land. I compare that. Now, hitting a baseball is a lot harder than catching football over the shoulder. I'm not saying it's equal, but I compare that to when a pitcher throws a baseball, the brain doesn't register exactly where that baseball is, right? It catches it for a little bit, and now you're just going off of that little data that you have, and you're swinging to where you think the ball is going to end up. That's kind of what it's like when you catch a football over the shoulder, because you don't have eyes in the back of your head or on top of your head, and you have a helmet covering some of your vision. You got to go over the shoulder and catch it. So that impressed me. And then there's a catch he made going to the opponent's sideline to where he caught it. He knew he was going to get hit. It was still a hands catch. He lowered his shoulder. Bam, he takes a hit. Little things like that he makes look easy is what that is impressive to me. Excuse me.
All right, overreaction and underreaction for preseason week 2. Things that for the Seahawks you might be overreacting to, and other things you think not enough people are talking about. Bump, what do you got?
Now, this is like a 3-part underreaction. Okay? Open the game. Jay Reed gets a sack. Ain't nobody talking about Jay Reed getting a sack.
Yeah. Facts.
Last time he was here, he had a great year. We had 9, 10 sacks, something crazy like that from the interior defensive lineman. Come on now, show that man some love. Miles Adams. No one talks about Miles Adams. Yes. He was there last year. One, we interviewed him on our huddle. One of the smoothest voices you're ever going to hear. My man needs to do radio or voiceovers or something when he's done. Yeah. But he's making plays out there. And then the third part of this thing is Cam Young. Where is Cam Young in this whole situation? We haven't been able to see him get out there. We know he's going to be on this roster, but it's a 3-part. It's like, okay, I like seeing the OG Jay Reed come through. I love seeing the undrafted guy, second or third year guy, Miles Adams, make his plays. And then I'm like, all right, but where's Cam? Like, I want to see Cam. I want to see what he can do.
Thank you.
But these 2 also make me feel better about Cam sitting down because I believe that they're going to be able to fill a void. But end of the day, you brought this guy here to be the best Al Woods, if not better than he can be.
I thought Cam Young would be your starting nose tackle week 1. This was before I knew that Reed was, I don't don't know that it was before Reed was here, but it was before I knew that Reed would be your starting nose tackle. I just expected it to be like Cam Young out there trying to compete. I'll throw into, I think you're right. I think that for all the fear we had about the defensive line, not enough credit given to an admittedly brief appearance by Jay Reed and in a good game by Adams out there. You're right. I'll throw into underreaction. Training camp is hands camp. Training camp is a time when there's always that one random big-bodied wide receiver that we all fall in love with. So there is a Jake Bobo overreaction, but here's the underreaction. I don't think we're talking enough about how he could actually make the roster.
Right.
Like, there is a world where he actually makes the roster. And I think we're all talking about it like, good for Jake Bobo. You have that preseason. No, I think that he's making his case. Like, this team, might be hoping they can slip him through. But with the suspension of D. Eskridge, Derek Young's got to get out there and get some work in. You know what I mean? Like, suddenly that wide receiver room isn't looking quite as deep. No,
I see healthy 4, maybe 5 guys right now.
Yeah.
And going into the season, we thought we had like 6, 7 will be competing, and then you'll see what happens after that. My guy Winston out of WSU, though he's having a good preseason, he's probably not going to make the team. He's the guy they're going to try to slip on the practice squad. So it's nice when you find these diamonds in the rough. Jake Bobo also made a tackle on special teams. It's rare that you get receivers out there making tackles. Now, when you're 6'4", 200-some pounds, and yeah, your body is more capable of getting in there in the mix. That's why they like Derek Young as well, because he's great on special team. So I think you got to look at 19 and say, all right, it's for real. I remember before the season started, I was asked not to talk about Jake Bobo a lot on air because they didn't want the word to get out. And we can talk about him all we want to now because everyone has seen Jake Bobo. The league has seen Jake Bobo. He will not be able to slip onto the practice squad. So I agree with you. I think that it's a real possibility with the situation you laid out with Derek Young and with D. Eskridge in that situation. It can get real for number 19. Let's get it.